All right, let's talk about the Florida State Seminoles here for a little bit. Look, FSU, for a lot of weird reasons, isn't getting talked about as much during the offseason. I think a lot of it has to go with how last season ended. We're hearing stories, of course, about Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State. A lot of those same old folks, too, Texas, Oklahoma. This is a Florida State squad that is incredibly talented. The one question mark was the quarterback position, and we've got a great update on that. Let's get into the article, and we'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is courtesy of 24/7 Sports. Florida State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei put together a strong spring camp in which he got progressively better week by week as he settled into a new system and the overall situation. FSU seems comfortable with building its offense around the strong-armed veteran signal caller based on what he displayed this spring, with coach Mike Norvell stating that the spring performance was, quote, more reaffirming of a lot of the thoughts, unquote, Norvell and the staff had on the Oregon State transfer ahead of taking him as a transfer, perhaps even further ahead than what was expected. When you go through recruiting somebody, when you have your evaluation, you always don't know until they get there. It still builds up to kickoff seeing them in a game. Norvell said this past week at the ACC spring meeting in Amelia Island. The things that I hoped I would see probably more advanced in his progression than what we were asking him to do and how I think he fits and maybe even experience. All right, basically, if you like dig through Norvell's word salad there, it comes down to this. Uiagalelei is killing it. He's ahead of schedule. Looks like a massive get. A lot of question marks about how would he handle going back to the ACC. Looks like DJ's crushing it so far. Myers, I'm curious what your thoughts are. But first, Florida State fans, in the comment section below, look, now we're into summer workouts, getting closer and closer to training camp. And then, of course, football will finally be back. And that leads me to my question for you guys to answer below. What matchup this year are you looking forward to more than any other? There's a lot of great ones, a lot of great games going down to Tallahassee. Could be a road matchup as well. Give us the one game you're looking forward to more than any other and put it in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this Florida State Seminoles quarterback situation, specifically involving Uiagalelei here.
Yeah, Nate, I think last year we saw Jordan Travis obviously did fantastic in this Florida State offense. But one thing that really helped was a late transfer to this offense. A guy in Keon Coleman came into this offense and really just did such a great job last year in the receiver position. Jordan Travis already was great in his own right, the potential Heisman candidate before everything happened. But I think this is a team that was built, and then one transfer comes in and helps them become even better than they could have thought they were. I think is the opposite this time. I think the team was here. They were just looking for the quarterback. The quarterback is the person who transfers in the team this time. And now DJ's out there doing absolutely everything everyone expected him, plus a little bit more. And I think these are the things you get from a guy like Uiagalelei, who starts at Clemson, transfers from Clemson to Oregon State, then transfers from Oregon State to FSU. Clemson at the time was on their downslide when DJ was there at first. This is when they weren't, national championship contenders quite so much anymore. We know they had a really great run there for a while, but I think right when Uiagalelei left is kind of when they haven't been in the limelight so much anymore. So he didn't get his chance there. He goes over to Oregon State, never really was going to have a chance there. I think now he's at FSU and he realized this is one of his best chances to go out and do what all football players want to do. Win, be the national champions, bring home that trophy for your school. I think he's been putting in the work, and it is shown here early on. Coach Norvell saying he's ahead of schedule. He's doing all of the right things, and I'm really excited for Florida State fans because you seem like you have the real deal at the quarterback positions, like you said. I think this is going to be great for them going forward into this season.
Look, there's a reality in college football, and I think Florida State fans, you may like to hear this, you may not. I don't know. But the reality is, with the Big Ten expansion, the SEC expansion, if you're not in one of those two power conferences, you cannot afford to have a down season. You just can't, because you will find yourself left out of the picture in terms of big playoff potential appearances. We saw that with Florida State this past season, even though it's an expanded playoff picture, other opportunities, financial situations, recruits, transfers. If you're not in one of those two major conferences, you cannot have a season where you go like 7-5 or 8-4, even if it's a recovery season, a rebuilding year, and everyone expects it. You just can't, because then you'll just fall further behind the eight ball. Because the reality is, with the TV contract situations, the way college football is oriented, everything is set up so that way, new Big Ten, new SEC, big gap, everybody else. Well, that's just the reality of it, right? And Florida State, they are one of the blue bloods in college football over the past 3-4 decades or so. That's a fact as well. But the problem is they are in the ACC and they cannot afford to have a down year. That's why it was absolutely critical that Uiagalelei would come in and get off to a strong start. Not that he would play well by the end of the year or play well by the middle of the season. He's got to come in and look like a legit dude day one. Because if Florida State starts slow, if they go 1-2, 2-3 out the gate, even if they finish strong at 8-4, 9-3, they'll be left by the wayside because all anyone will be talking about is the new bigger Big Ten and the SEC. That's the reality. I don't make up the rules. I didn't define the environment. That's just the way it is right now. Florida State, you have got to be good right out the gate. You got to be just like you were in 2023. This time, avoid the injury disaster at the end of the season. And I think Uiagalelei getting off to a strong start in spring ball will allow them to build the momentum through summer practices, 7-on-7s, workouts, lifting weights, things like that. And more importantly, when they get into training camp and they actually start to put together this team and what it's going to look like week one. It all starts with a strong early spring performance. If he had had a questionable spring, if Norvell had come out and said, hey, listen, he got off to a decent start, but we're kind of spoon feeding him a little bit, I would have said, whoa, that's a bad sign. But the fact that Norvell's like, hey, listen, he exceeded our expectations. You know, you never know until they get in the building, but he came in and he met and exceeded everything we had hoped for. That is an outstanding sign for Florida State because, like I said, they cannot have a down year. And the fact that Uiagalelei is off to a strong start at the quarterback position, I don't think they will. I think they're going to prove themselves to be not just a quality football team in 2024, but a national title contending team once again.